Hello from the 757 Spy Flight Deck. We've got a big VATSIM event that's coming our way this weekend, and now is the time to start hopping down a couple of rabbit holes. It'll make your flight just a little bit more fun. Hello, I'm Dave. I do the Spy Flight over on Twitch, and across the pond, across the land, these are big events, and there's a couple of things that are a little bit different about these as far as flight simmer flights. The big deal for us here, the big reason for the video is we all have a departure time. And normally in flight sim, we just get in the airplane and go and fly and have a good old time. Well, these events are so big that we've got an assigned departure time, and we need to be on time, just like the real airline pilots are. So there's a couple of things that you can do to kind of help you ensure that you've got an on-time departure. The first thing that I did is I did a practice flight yesterday. I did a short flight out of my departure airport and a short flight into my arrival airport. I did this for several reasons. First, it was to make sure that my scenery was all ready to go, and there were no scenery errors, because, we're still having a few of those every now and then. I was also able to get a really nice screen grab of my 737 with the Star Wars livery flying over the pyramids. So, okay, there was another good thing to do. I also was able to review the airport charts, and we'll review those in just a second. But mostly, I was able to take a look at what I call my back timing charts for across the land. And let's talk a little bit about this back timing thing and how it's something that's going to be able to help you be able to get an on-time departure and not be too terribly stressed out about it. Okay, so first things first, we're all av geeks here, right? Yeah. And so chances are you got a little envelope or something like that, and in that envelope you may have saved one of your old boarding passes. Now, if you've watched the Spy Flight, you've seen the little fake boarding pass that I put up at the beginning of the Spy Flight, and this was from yesterday. You might see the big time there, the big time, 9:55 p.m. That's not actually the departure time, that's boarding time. See, the airlines have already gone and done our departure times for us here so that we know when to do certain things to try and get out of the gate on time. And so what I've done is I've gone and created this back timing chart here. Back timing was a thing that us old school radio broadcasters did in the old days of radio, when you had to play a song and hit the network news at the top of the hour, but you didn't want to fade the song in the middle of the song, so you did a little bit of time math in your head to make sure there was enough time to play that song. Well, what we're going to do is something similar to all that. We're going to do some back timing, and we're going to start at the bottom of the chart. Oh, it's over here. Okay, so the bottom of the chart right over there, and it says 1335 Zulu, and that says pushback, and then there's, in parentheses, there's zeros. Okay. That is the time that I'm expected to be ready for push and start in Cross the Land. Now, for us over in Cross the Pond, you're actually expected to be ready to go 10 minutes before that. But let's keep it simple on this one. So, push and start is expected to be at my departure time, 1335 Zulu. That means if you looked at that boarding pass, United wants to close the doors 10 minutes before departure. Okay, so we're going to subtract 10 minutes, and that's 1325 Zulu. That's when you in your sim should be wanting to close the doors. Go up another level, 1255 Zulu. Okay, so now we're an hour earlier. We're in the previous hour, so you got to do a little time math here. But 1255 Zulu, for a 737, that's when I want my boarding to begin. Now, some of you are going to be flying, 747, a 777, a bigger airplane, and that means more time. So you might need an extra 10 or 15 minutes. If you're going to use, like on the PMDG 737, you're going to actually have people boarding through the airplane itself, as opposed to just jam in your zero fuel weight and go. And that's a perfectly good way to go and do that too. And if you're using the new GSX, where passengers actually walk down the jetway, you might need even more time. So our back timing now is at 12:55 Zulu for boarding begins. Before that, another 10 minutes before you need to have passengers rolling down the jetway, that's when you need to start powering up your airplane and start fueling the airplane. I think generally airlines like to fuel airplanes without passengers aboard. So you power up your airplane and start fueling the airplane 10 minutes before passengers start walking down the jetway. And 10 minutes before that, you should probably start your flight planning. And you should have your simulator on and ready to go. You should be at the gate and ready to start doing flight sim stuff. So all of those times, that's a way to back time your departure. And if you can hit those target times, well, the good news for you is you'll be able to get out of the gate on time, be ready, and you're not going to be flustered or getting behind and forgetting to do things. Now, the good news is I took all of those numbers and I've gone and taken them and put them in a small little notepad file, which is right here. And I've cut and pasted this into the description of the video, which means you can cut and paste this into your own notepad, take your own departure time and put it here at the bottom, and then just do the math and go up the back timing chart. And that's going to give you target times for when you should start fueling the airplane, when you should start having your passengers walk down the jetway and start loading baggage and stuff. So that way you will be ready to go at exactly the time that you're ready to go. So there's a little bit of the back timing thing. Now, another thing that really can go and tax your brain cells first thing in the morning is Zulu times. Okay, sometimes Zulu time math just really, there hasn't been enough coffee for me to deal with that. Well, we got a little help here. So if you're using Sim Toolkit Pro, which I use, look at the bottom here, this little thing down here. See where it says 1426Z? That is the current Zulu time. Okay, so that's my little Zulu time clock there, which is really pretty cool. And if you see, it says 1426 Zulu. Well, okay, if you look at my back timing chart, I'm clearly an hour late for departure, but that's when I'm not departing right now. But you can use that clock to help you stay on time. Now, guess what? If you're not using Sim Toolkit Pro, if you're using Volanta, it's got a Zulu time clock too. So you're in good shape and ready to go for that. Another thing that I did is, aside from just getting a really cool picture of my 737 next to the pyramids, is yesterday's test flights that I did not only checked out the airports for scenery errors, but I was also able to review the airports too. I don't fly out of Istanbul every day, so it was a good reminder for me to say, okay, there's the 3-4s, the 3-5s, there's 3-6. So, okay, I've a nice reminder of the layout of the airport. I'm also able to go and take a quick look here and take a look at departure gates. You're going to need to put your airplane at a departure gate, and when you call for clearance, when you call for push and start, you're expected to know where you are on the airport. So I've got a couple of airport gates here, A7, A6, A5, and A3. I'm going to try and put my airplane down here, and we'll see if that works. The other thing I'm able to do is review the arrival airport. 3 runways at Cairo, probably going to land on, I'm guessing, the 5s. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see what the weather's like that day. You know, another thing that you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to look at the arrival procedures. And while my arrival airport, Cairo, doesn't have actual stars, it does have fixes for holding. And this is going to probably be a big deal. This is cross the land. It's not unreasonable to expect that we might have to do a hold at Altox here. So, there's a place where we might be able to, might need to do a hold. So that's an important thing to do. Okay, so another thing that I'll suggest is, as we get a little bit closer to the big cross the land event, you need to be checking your reservation page. Some of the airports have been known to put together pretty nice, cool, concise little PDF files about departures and arrivals at their airport. It's going to give you frequencies that you're going to need for your clearance delivery. It's going to tell you any other things that might be a little unusual about that airport that they don't do at the airports that you're used to doing. So that's going to be another really, really cool thing for you to check for and look for those departure charts. And the night before, usually they're there the day before the event, go and just have a look at them. Usually they're not more than 5 pages or anything like that. So if you get a chance, go ahead and look at those. Usually in the 24 hours before an event like Cross the Land or Cross the Pond, your routing will be available on your flight reservation page. So as soon as my routing is ready to go, I'm going to go grab that routing and I'm going to cut and paste it into SkyVector and just have a look at the route. I'm not going to study it in depth, but I'm going to look and see, okay, are we going to come over Castlerejo here or Rhodes, or are we going to go over Cyprus or something? Just a general idea of where we're going to be going. And finally, one of the things is even over on vPilot or XPilot, if you're on X-Plane, you can click on the ATIS and get the weather. A good thing to have shortcutted on your browser is what I call METAR TAF, especially if you are new to Flight Sim and trying to figure out, you know, the METAR here. That's this long string of numbers that I just highlighted. So right now, this tells me what the wind is doing, what the temperature is doing, what the clouds are like. METAR TAF, what's brilliant about METAR and TAF is this gives you some visual references. So over here on the right side, you can see that there's broken clouds at 2,200 feet. Just to give you an idea of where the clouds are going to be and when you're going to encounter those. It also shows this wind arrow here. So yesterday when we departed, I believe we were off 35 right was our departure runway. So the winds right now are 13 knots, and they're going to be from the right side of the airplane blowing us to the left side of the runway. So maybe we're going to need a little bit of rudder to keep us going down the center of the runway. Just a really cool little tip there for making sure that you're all ready to go, and this whole experience, you know, you're ready. And then finally, you know, if you get routed over the pyramids, you know, have your screen grabber ready to go so that you can get a nice picture of your airplane as you fly by a landmark or something like that. Just a couple of tips there. Okay, so I did take the back timing chart, and that is in the description. You can cut and paste that into Notepad and do your own target time so that you'll be out of the gate on time too. And in the meantime, I will say thank you for taking the time to sit. And what was this? About a 12-minute video. I hope some of this helped out a little bit. I will look forward to seeing you in the friendly sim skies and cross the land on Saturday. In the meantime, I'll probably see you over on Twitch a little bit later on today for some fun flights. And I'll be back here again on YouTube. I'm still new here on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, you know, those likes and shares definitely help. So thank you for doing that. And thanks for watching. I hope you're doing well. Stay healthy, stay safe, and as always, see you in the friendly sim skies. Cheers.